right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to day 5 of our 30-day meditation challenge. It is such an honor to be here leading you today on day 5. And today we're going to be working a little bit deeper in the process of going more into the really deep under layers of how to prepare to grow this inner light. How do we grow the inner light? In essence, growing our light means strengthening this complete organism from the inside out. And we do that through awareness. When we are unaware of ourselves, when we're not in the physical body, when we're escaping or in constant denial or fear or in a state of suffering, we immediately counter-create as opposed to create. And this is where we begin to run into problems in our lives with experiences. We are attracting experiences that are causing us even more in that cyclical, in that perpetual cyclical cycle of causing more suffering, more suffering, and so on. So the idea is that we now shift from aligning vibrationally to the karmic reincarnation cycle of karma, of cause and effect, the cyclical pattern within the 3D world that is designed to train this fragment of ourselves to experience emotions and manage those emotions through the experiences. And it's through the process of this experience in the emotions that the organism grows and learns and creates that incredible fusion within it that occurs when there is so much pressure. Like a diamond, we are becoming a diamond with this incredible amount of pressure that begins to create an alchemical change in the body of transformation. And that's really what life is about. Life is about experiencing those difficult moments and our ability to transmute those moments from the difficult, painful suffering into an incredibly high vibrational state is exactly what we're here to do. And the majority of us that have signed up to come in at this particular time, we're pretty strong warriors in that we are feeling and experiencing as a collective organism these kinds of shifts and changes in which we are forced to really address and face ourselves in those moments of complete feeling of unknown, entering into the unknown, experiencing the unknown, learning about ourselves by looking at the reflection of suffering within others. And so a lot of those things can be very difficult and a lot of times making us feel like we want to check out and not really feel and be in that body fully. But this is part of what we're here to do. It's one of the most important aspects, and the alchemy that we as humans are here to understand and master is the ability of transmuting those emotions of helplessness, of fear, of disconnect into unity, becoming whole from the fragmentation that occurs from suffering and trauma, coming back into embodying wholeness. And wholeness of this fragment that is becoming aware that it's just one of million potential fragments that are experiencing on other dimensional planes. And those dimensional planes, we become aware of them through dream time, through our astral travel, and of course in death. When we detach from this fragment, we begin to surf into other realms in which we meet ourselves again through many manifestations. So we are living through this human experience, meeting our other manifestations. You are a manifestation of me, I am a manifestation of you, and we are just experiencing through one another different aspects of our potential creation. So that being said, if we really understand what that means, we begin to pull away from the idea of looking at things in a dualistic manner, where we have to categorize things as right, wrong, good, bad, positive. And we begin to look at things as more of a collective experience, whereas I am a part of something, you're a part of me, and you represent something else. And your life speaks to a very specific experience, and you're going to experience all your things that you have in your life in a very specific way. But we have something in common, and it's that you are a reflection of all the things that I am internally. And we meet one another on that level. We meet one another by recognizing ourselves in one another. The wonderful thing about that and the opportunity in that is that through connection with one another, we are kind of magnetically attracting ourselves to one another by the changes that are occurring chemically, emotionally, and most importantly, vibrationally. So, depending on where you are in the world and what you're experiencing, those stories that are there with the groups of people that gather in those spaces are specific to those experiences and to the vibrational expression that is available for these groups of people. So when we're working with ancestral work in our DNA reprogramming, we are kind of connecting with the fragments of ourselves that are manifested in our ancestral lineages. And those are reflected, manifested within the people, places, and things that we connect with in our current timeline. So when we heal one of those fragments, you begin to tap into the healing of many other aspects of yourself. And so that's really important and something that we want to learn to do in our journey. Without the reintegration of your fragments, without understanding what it means to become whole, to integrate that fragmentation, you will not grow your light, because light, or the idea that you are light, is awareness, it's consciousness. So you cannot embody consciousness and awareness by denying parts of you, or hiding parts of you, or rejecting parts of you. And these kinds of rejections happen in a very profound, sometimes subconscious manner, in that we're not aware that we're doing that. So it's important that in meditation, we take a look at what are the repetitive triggers that are occurring in your life and working with those, because that's where you're going to find the gold, the information of how to heal and reintegrate from those things. If things are still triggering you in your life, you haven't integrated that part of you. So if you can identify what that trigger is, you can really begin to understand what it is that you're doing and why you're experiencing that in your life. And the purpose is to overcome that trigger, to integrate that fragment of yourself that has experienced suffering, disassociation, and the belief that it is disconnected from the source in that experience. So in today's practice, we're going to be working together. We're going to be taking a look at how to reintegrate those fragments in meditation. And I'm going to guide you through a practice where we begin to reintegrate our fragments based on emotions that we are feeling in the now and emotions that you have been repetitive feeling. And most importantly, we're going to learn how to repair our auric field from that fragmentation. Fragmentation happens in the psychological level, chemical level, and also, of course, in the body, but the energy is very much distorted in the physical body. And when a fragment is created, it creates a thread of energy that begins to siphon our life force back to that reference point of our fragmentation. And as time is not linear, we end up like a big jumble of these fragment parts of us within our space, and we carry that with us at all times. This is what makes up your vibrational frequency. So in order to change the vibrational frequency, you have to work with those fragments. You have to heal them. And so this is where our work really comes into play. All right, so let's get started. Let me go ahead and turn on our thing here. We're going to start working with these fragments. Let me take a look at this real quick, because I actually had a lot of questions that people were asking me. So let me address those questions before we get started. Somebody was asking... Okay, so I have been trying to meditate for a really long time. I would love to learn meditation and to be able to function on a higher realm, but no matter what I do, I can't clear my head to get there. I have followed your advice and tried everything. Any advice, and what am I doing wrong? Please help. So, for those of us that it's difficult to meditate, there's a couple things that are happening. In this particular case, the location that you're at. Here's something that is very interesting. The direction that we're facing when we meditate somewhat plays a role in whether it's difficult or easy to meditate. Okay. And I want you to notice in your meditation, you can do this by holding a compass and noticing sitting in different directions in your room or in your meditation space, and notice which direction is easier for you to meditate that you're facing. Now, why does this happen? We have, of course, in the body meridians in the body, but also we are living in an organism, which is planet Earth, which has its own meridians as well. And those meridians have energy runways that we align with depending on where we live. When we live in a certain place, we align to the meridian lines that are running through that space. So sometimes, and especially when you're meditating in rooms that have metallic walls, or you're not going out into nature a lot, our energetic field dims down, lessens down. Our magnetic field becomes weak. And so it becomes very easy for parasitic consciousness or us to leave the body and feel more comfortable outside the body than in the body in that case, because of that fragmentation that has occurred. So, number one, I would invite you to spend time in nature. And after you spend time in nature, meditate immediately when you get back from that time in nature, because your electromagnetic field will have cleansed naturally by breathing fresh air and by aligning with nature, and basically your auric field becomes purified and clear, and you now align with a more clean energy, kind of recycle that energy through the body. So if you sit down and do some meditation after that, it'll be easier for you to clear your mind, because you've literally brought yourself into an alpha state. And it'll be easier for you to connect with Earth, having your energy energized, your auric field energized. So this is a really powerful technique that you can use if it's really difficult for you. Don't watch television, don't listen to radio, don't listen to music, because we already have highly ADHD trained minds where it's really difficult for us to silence the reptilian analytical brain in the background to put its input into everything that we're experiencing. So we have to break that habit by disconnecting from all technology, social media, because it is specifically designed to create patterns that keep the mind constantly addicted like a drug to stimulation. The stimulation is subconscious. It can be colors, emotions, subliminal messages that we don't necessarily are aware of, but they trigger emotions in us. And so we become addicted to constant chemical responses. So in meditation, we have to shut all of that off. And of course, for those of us that are used to meditating, it's really going to trigger this unsettling feeling where it's going to feel like, oh my gosh, it's almost like somebody sobering up, or addicted to sugar is now going cold turkey and now has to refocus on their body. So it's the same with meditation. We have to train the mind to feel comfortable in that space of stillness, So that's what we have to do. And of course, Vipassana is a very fantastic way to begin to train yourself in that kind of stillness and help your body become comfortable in that stillness. So I really invite you to try that. Secondly, once you find the direction that you're meditating in to be easier for you, sit in that space all the time. Depending on the year that it is astrologically, my friend Kathleen Zemansky actually is the creator of Blazer, Time Blazer, in which she does this called life feng shui. And she has this amazing tool that she utilizes to identify what is the most correct direction for you to do healing work and meditation. So that's something that's very interesting. And when I tried that in my own life, it really changed the way I was meditating as well. I noticed it immediately. I can meditate anywhere, but it was easier to connect, easier to imagine. We might need that more now than ever, specifically because we're being bombarded energetically more than ever collectively. There's a lot of changes and shifts happening in the world. So that might be something that could help you a little bit. Very good. So that's the other question. So the next question was about, I believe, the auric field when we are doing our meditation. Hold on a second. Let me find that question. And if you have any questions, put it here in the meditation. And I will answer. Let's see. So Starseedian asks, question for you about visualization. I noticed I have a difficulty doing this, and I'm aware that this is for the reason you stated during the meditation. So my question is, the more I focus on integration of the emotions that arose, as well as pictures with emotional keys from the past, memories, and experiences with people and such, the easier I'll be able to visualize in my mind's eye. Yes. Okay, so the question is, will it become easier to visualize if I continue to integrate those emotions and triggers from those memories? The answer is yes. And the reason why is because when we are working with the emotional body, you have to remember it's not just the emotions. You're working with an entire network of information, non-physical information that is in your space. You are a giant organism of information. Okay. And so every single chakra is an expression. It's a field around you. You have 13 fields around you, dimensions of information that you have the ability of tapping in and out of at any time. So when you heal information, it's in one of those dimensions. The more that you keep clearing those memories, all that you're doing is you are shifting the perspective of that fragment. You are broadening the perspective of that fragment of yourself. When you bring a fragment from this myopic view, or the thought form that you are a victim, or the thought form that you are disconnected or helpless, those thought forms are very myopic views that are only based on the ego, I and the other. When you do this healing work, you are broadening the view of that fragment. So you're no longer looking at things as through these myopic eyes, just one thing. You're looking at me and us, me and all. And that's how you heal. That's actually the purpose of this kind of healing work. You changing the perspective from I and other to I and all. And that's really what it means to reintegrate fragments of ourselves. If we do this with the memories in the past, we begin to look whole. And it's almost as if from looking down and having these little, those covers over your eyes all your life, you're now beginning to look at the whole picture. You see yourself, you see others, you understand yourself, and therefore you have the ability of understanding others. So this is an important element to training our intuition. Because if we have a limited ability with our intuitions, it's because our perspective is also limited. It's limited by limiting beliefs, limited by fears, limited by doubt. So the more we reintegrate those fragments, the more we support the parts of us that feel fearful and change that fear into this love, more expansive unity consciousness. And that's how we heal. So it'll help you train and advance or expand your ability to tune in to your intuitive gifts, to the truth that is all of these dimensional layers that are available for you to see through that. So anyway, that's what I really would love to share with you. And let me see if there are any questions in the chat that I can answer. Yeah, perfect. Pill Small, how are you? All right, so made it RR2, hello. Majestic, hey, thank you so much for that. I'm so glad you resonate. Luana, welcome. Elmore, so wonderful to see you, the universal humanitarian. Evolution is change. We cannot be afraid anymore. That's right. Well, absolutely. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, you guys. Center yourself in the third eye and beg and begin to fly. Clear mind, open heart. Yep. Joe Pesci, how are you today? Thank you so much. Okay. Very good. I am glad that this is more relatable to humans, Joe. All right, so let's get started, my loves. Let's get into our comfortable position, and we're going to begin. Let's begin by inhaling deeply. I will answer your question, Majestic. I got it. Okay. And as we breathe deeply, we're going to ground ourselves. So go ahead and visualize the center of the earth. We're going to be moving here a little bit quickly, but also mindfully. So just connect and follow my voice. I will guide you through this work. Go ahead and visualize the center of the earth. Ground yourself, anchor yourself. We're going to bring the powerful source light down through the crown of the head, down through the center core. Creating that central core light down through the perineum and anchoring down to the center of the earth. Breathing deeply. Go ahead and visualize the 7 layers around your body. I want you to create a sphere around you, around the 7 layers. A sphere made out of something completely impenetrable. Go ahead and take a look at that. What does that look like to you? Whatever it is, create it. Okay. We're going to ground the room that we're working in, whatever that is, ground it down to the center of the earth, 4 corners of the room or house that you're in, down to the center of the earth. Visualize a field of golden light surrounding this house in a protective field. We're going to ask that anything that doesn't belong in this space leave now. Clearing this space. Very good. Raising the vibration of our space to the color gold. Breathing deeply. Go ahead and visualize now from the center of the earth a powerful wave of green life force energy that comes rushing up into the body, creating a vortex of energy. Pull it into the body. Imagine green forests, life force entering the body, almost as if you are in nature. And it purifies, cycles through the body, creating a giant vortex, picking up all the debris in any of those 7 layers. We're working up to the 7 layers because the 7 layers are most connected to the physical realm. So this is where most of the heavy debris that is affecting us in this time is living. So use your intuition to scan your 7 layers and go ahead and release anything that doesn't belong to you in that space. from the universe, from source. Go ahead and bring down some of that cosmic energy down to the crown of your head, down your spine, combining with the green earth energy. Mix that cosmic and earth energy at the center of your body, creating a giant vortex all around your body, picking up debris from all 7 layers. And this is where you're going to begin to feel that movement, that rush of energy that moves through the body. Very energizing, very cleansing. Let go of your heavy day. Let go of emotions, thoughts, limiting beliefs, blockages. And we're going to mindfully channel that down to the center of the earth. So go ahead and visualize now everything that you picked up. Send it down to the center of the earth. The earth functions like a recycling mechanism. Let that earth take it in and transmute what you're sending and directing down there. But you are also creating a healing because you're channeling cosmic energy back into the earth. So you are functioning as an alchemist of healing, not just for your body right now, but for the earth. Direct that life force into earth and provide that healing. Go back to your solar plexus, take 80% of that combination, send it up your spine and from the crown of your head, creating a fountain, coating the outside of your sphere that you created. You're clearing the matrix, any illusions, deceptions, false truths that you might be identifying with, people, places, and things that are siphoning life force that we are giving imbalanced exchanges with, consciously or unconsciously. Visualize that you're severing those cords and you're calling back your life force into the body, taking a nice deep breath, returning what does not belong to you. This is a rule of the awakened man, the man that is conscious and aware of its mind, body, soul on all dimensional planes. It is moving consciously, mindfully, compassionately with ourselves and every aspect of ourselves. Okay, we're going to take that final 10% that's at the core. You're going to send it up your spine, from the palms of your hands, feed it inside the body, breathing deeply into the pores, the flesh, the muscles, the bones, down to the cellular level of the body. I want you to become aware of all the cells in the body, the holographic system that extends around you, 13 dimensions around you. Tap in to you, your whole self. What are you? How are you in this moment? Tune into your energetic field. And sending that energy into the areas that require more attention, healings, support. Very good. Breathing deeply. Okay. So what I want you to do now is I want you to tune in to the past 24 hours. I want you to see if there was any moment in the past 24 hours that you have felt afraid of the unknown, or any time in the past 24 hours where you may have felt helpless or confused or disconnected, disassociated with what was occurring in your life. Go ahead and see if there was any of those occasions in the past 24 hours where we were faced with a moment that we had to experience something unknown, that we felt fear, doubt, anxiety. Go ahead and see if you can find something in the past 24 hours that triggered that emotion within you. And just observe it as if you're watching a movie of yourself in front of you. It could be a moment where you felt doubt, or you felt stuck, or you felt uninspired, somehow disconnected. Okay, I want you to connect with that part of you. I want you to tune in to where in the body you're holding on to that by looking at the memory of yourself. Where in the body are you holding on to that feeling, that emotion? That emotion of being disconnected, lost, whatever that unpleasant emotion is, tune into the body. Notice where it's stored. And you're going to focus on that part of the body. And you'll notice that you can very easily feel that emotion by focusing on it. And that's because it's still there. It's still living there. So just take a moment and imagine how much of your life you just ignore all these little emotions that come up, these triggers, and just keep storing them in the body. That's the unconscious man that becomes mechanic. It becomes artificial intelligence. We want to change that and become conscious beings. So go ahead and go back to that moment where you're feeling that emotion and sit with that emotion for a minute. Allow it to give you information as to why you are feeling that way in that moment. Kind of assessing what is occurring in that experience. And sometimes it might take a moment to kind of sit with that emotion to really understand what it is that you felt. But focus on the emotion. All the answers are already there for you without analyzing, without thinking. Just allow the intuitive mind to just bring the information forward for you. Okay, now that you've identified those emotions, go ahead and see which one is the strongest that you're feeling at that moment. Which one is the one that really stands out? Okay, go ahead and follow that emotion and feel it really strongly. Be present with that emotion for a moment. Notice where in the body you store that emotion. Go ahead and feel it in that part of the body, focusing on that part of the body with that emotion. Okay. And notice how familiar you are with that emotion. How much of your life does that emotion really play a role in how you're making your choices and experiencing things? Chances are that this is a very familiar emotion that taints a lot of the things that you want to do, or wish you could do but can't do because of this emotion. So this is key for you. So go ahead and tune into that emotion. And as you do, I want you to take yourself to the very first time in this lifetime or another lifetime where you've experienced this. Go ahead and take yourself there. Breathing deeply. Take yourself there. Okay? And as you come into that memory, as you begin to observe yourself in that memory, in that moment, go ahead and see what is occurring with you in that moment. It could be a time in childhood, it could be another life. Just see yourself. What are you experiencing there? What are the things that occurred around you that triggered you to feel that way in that moment? Just watching and observing. Okay, so the questions that you want to ask yourself at this point as you're watching what's happening is, why do you have the perception you have about yourself? Where did this limiting belief stem from? How did it start? Okay. And I want you to ask yourself, this environment that you're in, is that environment conducive of feeling differently in that moment? And if the answer is no, notice why. It's the same if the answer is yes. Why is that? Okay. How much of what you're experiencing and observing here can you control in that moment? Notice that. How much can you control? Okay. So as you see yourself, I want you to surround that part of you in a golden sphere of light. And I want you to feel in your body all of those heavy emotions that you're feeling. And I want you to tune in. What is the opposite, the direct opposite of that emotion? What is it? Okay, what do you need in order to feel that way? What do you need in order to feel the opposite? Notice that. Okay. Why do you see yourself as separate from this being that is in front of you, or people or person or thing that is there experiencing this with you? Why are you separate from this thing? Separation is what causes, the illusion of separation is what causes fear. So what are we fearing in that moment? Do we fear that we lack something? Do we fear that we're not going to get something? And who is fearing that within you? Is it the ego or the one that embodies love? Which one is it? Which one fears the most? Notice that. Again, all of these fears stem from the idea that we are separate instead of whole. So ask yourself, is it true that I am separate? And I want you to provide yourself with everything you need in that moment in order to feel whole or to know that you are whole. Everything that you need, I want you to give it to yourself. Allow that part of you to just know that it has the ability to embody that wholeness. It is that wholeness. It doesn't even have to try. It just has to remember that it is that wholeness. And I want you to notice how your perspective begins to change in that moment. When it remembers that it's source, when it recognizes for that one moment that it is source, it is the infinite consciousness, infinite creator, it begins to shift the way this experience can be played out. How would it be different? Notice that. Okay. And as you're looking at this person, place, or thing in front of you, notice, does that thing, person, place, or thing, know that it's whole? Or has it also forgotten? Notice that. Has it also forgotten that it's not whole? Okay. And by looking at this person or this place, thing in front of you, what would they need in order to know that they're whole? Okay. By instructing yourself and identifying that answer, you answer it for yourself as well, because we all require the same thing to understand our wholeness. It's the acceptance, the embodiment of this source aspect of ourself, infinity. Infinite connection to the all, the creator of all experiences. Okay. So what you may have noticed is that this experience is something that repeats itself in many different ways in your life. It shows up in different ways through different people, through different experiences, but it's always the same. So you've just discovered how to support yourself the next time this specific trigger comes up for you. Go ahead and visualize that part of yourself and see it transform with this new understanding. And as you see that fragment, you're going to breathe deeply and take it into your body, into the part of you that you felt that stagnant emotion the most. Feed it into that part of the body, breathing deeply. And immediately you're going to feel an expansion in the body, in that part of your body, a release, a tension is open. This is how you reintegrate yourself. So we're going to work with now the part of us, the other side, the people, place, thing that you've experienced with. Go ahead and shine your crown light on top of them. The crown is the center of manifestation and co-creation. So through this lens, we are able to discern and clear out contractual agreements that we've made to experience certain lessons. So as you shine that light down on this person, place, or thing, you're going to see a contract. This is your karmic contract to experience this. Go ahead and erase that contract. If you feel that you're ready to let go of this memory, of this interaction, to change and transmute that interaction. As you eliminate that contract, okay, go ahead and visualize the cord that connects you to them. Notice very carefully where in your body that cord is connected. And you're going to cut the cord on their end. And I want you to pull it out of your body. Pull it out of the body. Completely pull it out. I want you to see what that looks like. Okay? See what it looks like as you pull it out. A lot of you will find something that looks like tentacles or mucousy or long stringy-like things that connect to your chakras, to your organs, to the different parts of the body. Go ahead and flush that out. Flush it out. Breathing, using your breath, inhaling gold white light into the body and releasing, exhaling everything that doesn't serve you. And what you're doing is you're reprogramming the energetic nervous system of the body to replace the trauma that has occurred from that experience. What you're removing is the trauma that is memorized in your energetic field right now. So as you release all of that out, go ahead and visualize bringing white source light, replacing in the body what you've cleaned, you replace it with white light. Healing, feeling, acknowledging the body and its healing in this moment. Very good. Excellent. Excellent work. Okay, we're going to clear out all of these memories from the past. You're going to take that part of you, healing it into your body, making sure that you have your energy back in the body. Okay? And you notice such a great expansion that has occurred from this. So let's go back and focus on the root chakra. Go ahead and open that root chakra back into a balanced state, spinning it as fast as possible. Visualize clearing out that root chakra. Clear out that root chakra. Go up to the sacral, opening it into a balanced state. Maybe your chakra is wide open. Bring it into a balanced state, about 2-3 inches wide. Spinning it, cleaning it. Go up to the third solar plexus. Go up to the heart. Now we're just going to close it gently, or if you haven't opened it, go ahead and open it so that it's just a bit larger. Okay? This is where we want to see from. We want to see from the heart, from pure divine balance and communication, expression, and intuition. This is where we want to lead our life, not from survival. Okay? So open, clear, open, clear. Going up into the crown, open, clear. And take your crown chakra up into the 9th. Illuminate and activate the 9th dimensional body. the 10th dimensional body, the 11th dimensional body, the 12th, the 13th, and above you is a white light of source. I want you to connect up into that white light and bring it down into the body. Bring it down, integrating fully. And any part of us that still feels fearful of dealing with unknowns, with fear, you can do this with all of those parts. Speak to the parts of you that still feel anxiety and disconnect from the whole, and see what you need to bring yourself back. So go ahead and come back into the room. And very good. You guys did an incredible job. I want to thank you so much for joining me. And let me see if I can answer any questions. There was a question here from Majestic. I believe it was Majestic. How can an empathic person shed the energy of others, and how often should this be done? So here's the thing. The idea of shedding means that we brought into our space something that doesn't belong to us. So first of all, you need to understand what belongs to you and what doesn't, okay? And the only way to do that is by practicing, training, remembering yourself at all times. Otherwise, we come into hypnosis. We are hypnotized by the external events. And what drains our life force energy is unconscious reactions to things in which we are creating an imbalanced exchange with the things that we're experiencing. So what happens in that imbalanced exchange is that we give a lot of emotional energy out, and that's actually how we become drained from life force. It's the emotions that become weapons that really are weaponized against us by creating an ADHD type of stimulating all the time stimulus through technology, social media. All of those things are meant to keep our emotions going from one side to this spectrum to the other. Happy, sad, depressed, angry. This makes me angry. This makes me happy. So first of all, that is the first greatest depletion of energy. So if you're a person that's constantly reacting to things and being emotionally involved and angry and fighting and reactive, you're always going to be energetically drained. That being said, if you know what is yours, what belongs to you, where you're at, you will be able to maintain a certain neutrality. Because a person that is awake and aware and not hypnotized, constantly reacting to things, is in a state of observation. You are now observing. You're no longer identifying yourself with things. You're seeing things that are happening as a part of you, not separate, and therefore we're not engaging unnecessarily energetically in those things. So this is kind of where we begin to create these, what we call boundaries, and yet we are unified with the all. Unified with the all because you know where you begin, and all of these other things that are reflections of your own self also begin, right? So the other part of this would be when we're working with people and things, again, whatever they're doing, whatever they're thinking or saying emotional things or doing things, your reaction or your thought or the meaning that you apply to what they did is actually the hook that drains your life force. So try not to apply meaning to everything that you're experiencing. Just watch it and observe it. And it's information. Take what you need from that information, act accordingly, and then keep going. Keep going. There's no need for this excessive drainage of energy. So that's really what it means to own your space. And the practice of GPAC, grounding, protecting, which means awareness of your energetic field, aligning. So what aligning does is that you're controlling your emotional body, the first three chakras, right? So if you have these chakras wide open, you're constantly reacting in survival mode, because that's what it is. In survival, you're reacting, you're pouncing on things that occur. When you control these spaces, it also controls your emotions, therefore controlling your perception. So your perception is going to be more on unity consciousness, communication, expression, and balance, and intuition. And that's where we want to operate from. form. That's the God creator state of being. So that's mainly why I created GPAC, is for that reason. So that could be a really great thing to do. Now, let me take it to the next step when it comes to relationships with people that we live with, for example, or that we're very much intimate with. We create energetic cords. Energetic cords are solidified thought forms that are shared with one another. So what we want to do in those cases, and it's always very important to do this, is to neutralize the cords that we're throwing. In other words, neutralize the information that we're throwing with one another. Because these cords that link us together are thought forms, and sometimes those thought forms can be very toxic. It can be feelings of insecurity and codependency, or fears, anxieties, doubts, lacks, all of these kinds of things that maybe we are aligning and we've come together, usually in resonance with the other person, to experience together. Usually it's the most challenging things in our relationships. So those are the cords that are created between us. If we can identify first what they are, because you can't just go cutting any cord without understanding. You have to understand what you're doing and why. But when you identify what that is, you begin to neutralize and consciously disconnect, let go of those contracts and agreements and cords that you no longer want. In order to do that, you call back your life force and you return what doesn't belong to you. It's always very conscious, energetic exchanges that have to happen. No parasitic behaviors, no imbalanced exchanges, no fear. It's just understanding what we're doing with our, the people that we're sharing this experience with. So I definitely invite you to do that kind of clearing literally at the end of every day. If you can remember to clear your space and energetically to know any parts of you that fell asleep throughout the day, because sometimes it's challenging to be conscious all day long. Those are opportunities for things to have attached to our energetic field. So clear out at the end of your day. Okay, so thank you so much for that question, Majestic. Andrew says, hey, Andrew. Pills, mouth, Plim Soul. I'm so sorry. I can't read. Great to see you, Geraldine. You always explain things so well. Love it. Thank you so much for being here. Zen Atkinson. Gaia will now give us everything we need. Forget the past. Enjoy the now future. Beautiful. Thank you. JF says hello all. One Love says hello. Hearts and roses. Joe Pesci says, I get the practice of meditation and I can catch it for a moment, but how does one stay in this mind for longer as a practice? Okay, so I can get it down right. I feel anxiety and doubt. I think I need a one-on-one encounter when I try to transfer my state of being into a calm meditative state. Okay, Joe. So here's the thing. So what needs to happen, and you got it. You basically completely answered your question in a sense, because you've already identified that what you feel is anxiety and doubt. And that's actually the gold. Some people don't even realize that. So if you have that much information, you basically have your answer. The question is, what is it that you need in order to not feel anxiety and doubt? The doubt is for yourself. We doubt the self in that moment, and we doubt what we're experiencing in the non-physical, and it has to do with control, the need to control what we're experiencing, controlling our environment, controlling the emotions, and feeling safe in the unknown. So this is a cyclical pattern that goes back to childhood. I want you to revisit the memories in your life that you've had in which you felt completely not in control, or you felt like you really needed to be in control in order to stay safe, and start to work with those parts of yourself. How can you bring safety? How does someone begin to feel safe? And what it is beginning to understand that you are, number one, the creator of all the experiences that you have from the inside out. We are the Alpha and the Omega. You are creating everything that you experience. You've come into the families that you've come into purposely in order to deal with these kinds of challenges that you've had. And all of those things are designed to help you evolve, to create that fusion moment where you transmute that heavy, doubt into complete trust and surrender. This is where we're balancing the feminine and masculine aspects of ourselves. The need for control is the imbalanced masculine. The feminine is that surrender. So what do we need in order to feel safe in surrender? And really, the wonderful thing is that this is you in that meditation. You don't have to explain to anyone. You don't have to tell anyone what you're going through. This is only you in your mind working through these things. So support yourself. We have two emotions in the universe, fear and love. So you're choosing in that moment. Am I looking at the world from fear, or am I looking at it from love? And therefore, what does love really mean? You need to go down that journey and explain that to yourself. What I'm noticing now with the work with the clients that I see, we're discovering that we're kind of, we're leaders, we're pioneers in teaching ourselves the foundations of creation, teaching ourselves what love is, teaching ourselves what joy is, teaching ourselves what it means to be safe. Because our world is not a place that has taught us those things. In fact, there are very few people in our world that embody these things. So we don't have that many examples, right, to look at. So we are we're defining it in our own way. And you have to remember that you've done this many lifetimes, so it's just a matter of remembering in that moment that you're more than just this fragment of yourself. That will help you understand, okay? And we're a product of a lot of conditioning, so all of that has to play a role in that. Thank you so much for that incredible and important question. Yeah, so I mean, you went to work out and you're tired. Yeah, I mean, definitely, you have to take the right time. Lisa Davy, hello, Zen. Your body needs respect, your soul deserves. Yep, the body definitely needs assistance and support and time. Take time. Okay, awesome. So Majestic says, oh my God, it's amazing. Thank you for that. Thank you, Luana. Anita Zanikova, thank you. Incredible as always. Great question and powerful responses. Awesome. I'll be going through this magic. Fantastic. All right, guys. Thank you so much. One Love says, I'm definitely an extra sensitive and extremely empathic. Someone I know described it that I care too much. I love a lot of love to give, and I have a lot of love to give. Yes, my love, absolutely. We are infinite sources of love, but that love has to go to us. We have to master the art of love. Love is creation. So, if we're feeling drained, then we're doing an uneven exchange. All right, my love. So thank you so much for this wonderful practice. I love you very much. Please have a wonderful night. I'll see you tomorrow. All my love. Bye-bye.